Learning a new language can be exciting, but it can also feel difficult when you rely too much on translation. Many English learners translate every sentence in their minds before they speak. At first, translation seems helpful, but later it becomes a problem. When you think in your own language first, speaking becomes slow and uncomfortable. That is why many teachers say, "Don't translate. Speak English naturally." Speaking English naturally means using English to express your ideas directly, without changing words from another language. It means thinking in English as much as possible. This skill takes time, but anyone can learn it with practice. When you stop translating every word, your sentences become faster, smoother, and more confident. One of the reasons translation can be harmful is that English does not follow the same rules as other languages. Sometimes a direct translation sounds strange or incorrect. English has its own expressions, its own structure, and its own way of showing meaning. When learners try to translate word by word, their speech can sound unnatural. But when they focus on ideas instead of individual words, communication becomes easier and more natural. To speak English naturally, it helps to listen to the language every day. Listening teaches your brain how English sounds, how sentences flow, and how people use tone and emotion. You can watch videos, listen to podcasts, or talk with native speakers. The more English you hear, the easier it becomes to think in English without needing translation. Another important tip is to use simple sentences. Many learners try to make long and complicated sentences because they want to sound advanced. However, this often leads to mistakes and frustration. It's better to speak clearly and simply. Natural English is not about fancy vocabulary. It is about communication. When you speak simply, you feel more confident, and your ideas become easier to understand. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are a normal part of learning. Every time you try to speak naturally, you improve a little more. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. What matters is practice. The more you speak, the more natural your English will become. Remember, speaking naturally does not mean speaking perfectly. It means speaking comfortably and expressing yourself without fear. Thinking in English is also an important skill. You can start with small steps. For example, when you look at an object, try to name it in English. When you walk outside, describe what you see in simple English sentences. When you make a plan for your day, think about it in English. These small exercises help your brain switch from translation to natural thinking. Reading helps too. When you read English books, stories, or articles, you learn grammar and vocabulary through context. You begin to understand how words fit together. You also learn common expressions that English speakers use every day. This helps you speak more naturally because your brain becomes familiar with real English, not translated English. Confidence is the key. When you feel comfortable speaking, your language becomes more natural. Confidence grows with practice, and practice grows with effort. Try to speak English every day, even if it is just for a few minutes. Talk to yourself, record your voice, or try speaking with friends. Every small effort helps you move closer to fluency. Finally, remember that the goal of language learning is communication. You don't need to speak perfect English to be understood. You only need to speak clearly and naturally. When you stop translating, you start living the language. You begin to enjoy conversations instead of worrying about grammar and vocabulary. You start sounding more fluent because your thoughts come out smoothly. Another helpful habit is to use English in real situations. For example, you can change your phone settings to English, write your shopping list in English, or send simple messages to friends who are learning the language. When English becomes part of your daily life, you stop seeing it as a school subject and start seeing it as a normal tool for communication. This natural exposure trains your brain to understand English without translating every detail. It also helps to relax while speaking. Many learners become nervous and try too hard to avoid mistakes. This makes speaking feel stressful and unnatural. Instead, try to breathe, smile, and focus on the meaning of what you want to say. When you are relaxed, your words come more smoothly. Over time, you will notice that you speak with more confidence, and your English will sound more natural and comfortable. Don't translate. Speak English naturally is simple advice, but it can change the way you learn. It encourages you to trust yourself, to practice often, and to let English become part of your daily life. If you follow this idea, your English will improve faster than you expect, and speaking will feel easier and more enjoyable. Before we finish, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Your support really means a lot to me and helps me keep creating better content for you. Remember, to see real results, try listening to this video more than once. Each time you'll learn a little more and improve faster. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions give me the motivation to keep going. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. See you soon.